Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another wonderful tasting with the Virtual Tasting Society. I am Vadim Perlovsky, and today we are excited to welcome a brand that's based in our own home city, downtown LA. Joining us is Broken Barrel, and the founder of the brand is Seth. Seth, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We have a great group of consumers and whiskey lovers joining us as well. A lot of the members here are members of the Los Angeles Whiskey and Spirits Guild. David is the president of the Los Angeles Whiskey and Spirits Guild. David, do you want to say a couple words?
Benhaim, I would thank you very much. Really do appreciate it. Myself, along with one of the co-founders, John Debney, and Vadim, for all the hard work that you do bringing us these virtual tasting events. We really appreciate it. As always, it's great to see everyone's faces. The regulars are wonderful. And it's really also nice seeing a few new faces with some of the regular ones. So welcome. I hope you have a great time. Seth, we've been hearing a lot about Broken Barrel. So this is going to be a great evening. Really looking forward to it. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Seth, yeah, we're excited. I'm surprised you don't have a sledgehammer. I was kind of looking forward to crushing some barrels with you.
I had to get home and tuck my kid in, so I didn't bring it with me, unfortunately.
No worries. We have a really stellar lineup today. We have 6 samples in front of us. Do you want to tell us what order you want to taste these in, and if we should pre-pour them or wait as we go?
I'm gonna pull my phone out. You guys have California Oak, 88 proof, which is the first one taste. Then we have our small batch 95 proof bourbon as well, and that should be the second one we taste. Then we're going to jump into the Heresy Rye whiskey, which is 105 proof rye. That'll be the third one we taste. And then from there, you have stout, rum, and a fun bottle that even I actually don't have a bottle of this in front of me, so I'll have to go off memory. But for tasting notes, but you guys obviously are pros at this, so you'll give me your tasting notes and maybe I'll learn something from you. Is the Plank Walker, which is our December 21 annual release following our 20 Fen Walker. So it's our second in the Walker series. And then we actually have a Flaviar barrel pick that I sent you guys, which is a rum cask finish. Now I don't have that. I sent you guys like some of these bottles that even I'm having a hard time digging up. So I actually I have a Bevmo rum cask finish. It's the same recipe, just a little bit different. And this is actually the new bottle. So this is how it looks. And for you can on this. So if you like the Flaviar pick that you guys tried tonight, Bevmo has a very, very similar recipe. It's obviously going to be a little different because it is a different barrel and a different store pick, but it is roughly the same. So, and then the last one is a stout beer finish, which again, I also don't have one of those here. But if you do, I know Southern California, for those of you guys here, Mission Wine and Spirits should have a few bottles left of our Modern Times Stout Collaboration edition, which is excellent. We actually just submitted it to San Francisco World Spirits. Now, am I coming in clear? Is my audio good? Video good?
You had a little bit of Wi-Fi. It seemed like issues.
A little bit of a lag. Yeah, but you're okay now. Seth, can you tell me which the last 3 were?
It's the Plank, the rum cask, and the stout.
Yeah, we'll go Plank, rum, stout.
Thank you, Vadim.
Awesome. So that's a great lineup. And a lot of the people here have 6 glasses in front of us, as you see Edgar playing chess over there. Should we pre-pour or should we pour as we go?
I do. I think if you guys can pour at least 1 or 2 at a time, just to stay ahead so that we don't get too far. Like if you're still struggling to get the sample together, best to pour 1 or 2 of them now. So you want to start with that California Oak. I'm showing you the bottle of how it looks. This is the full bottle. We'll turn. The bottles just came out last. We bottled them in August. They hit stores in September. It's just an awesome bottle. I'll just talk about like 2 seconds. We have a great little lip here, so you can, when you're pouring, kind of touch the lip against it, so you don't really pour it.
Seth, one sec. Sorry about that. Am I the only one who's not seeing any video? Oh, there you go. I think your Wi-Fi prioritized audio over video that time, and so you like froze, but I could still hear you. Or is that the only one? Was that my?
No, Vadim, I see the same thing that you're seeing.
Okay, because usually I'm the one with
It's a little
internet
choppy.
issues. Yeah, it was a little bit. Yeah.
We could hear you, but you
Okay.
froze. You're freezing. So
Okay. The video portion's a little off, but the audio is okay.
Yeah.
yeah, you may be too far away from your Wi-Fi connection, maybe, or because it looks like you're outside. No.
I am outside. Yeah.
I'm not an IT expert, so I don't know.
Well, we'll try this. We'll try, and if I'll speak a little slower.
Yeah, and if not, we can take a break if you need to relocate. And Kate,
Yeah,
will
I may
jokes.
relocate. If it continues in the next 5 minutes, I will relocate.
Sounds good.
I think my kid may be asleep now, so that's actually a good time to go back inside. Because I didn't want you guys to hear a bunch of like babies crying. So that's not as fun. That's not what you guys came.
But everything's
for.
good right now. Everything's good.
You sound good.
Good.
So you were telling us about the bottle.
I was showing you the bottle.
Mhm.
This is the new bottle. It's got a cool little lip on it, so you can kind of put the lip on a corner or put it up against it and try and catch that little extra drop if you get a little drop, coming out. So big embossed broken barrel on the top. Bottom of the glass is also embossed with our broken barrel monogram. And all the information you want to know about this product is on the bottle. So can you guys see that right there? That's got the oak bill and the mash bill. And I'll talk to you guys a little bit about the oak bill, what that all means, and what it is that we do at Broken Barrel that is unique. Put on audio video, guys.
No, it looks like your network bandwidth is low, is what it's saying.
Oh man. All right, you want me to relocate?
It's up to you. I think if you think yeah, take a couple of seconds. We'll wait.
David's nodding yes. David's nodding yes. So give me 2 seconds because I don't want you guys to miss anything.
No worries.
No
Sounds
problem.
good.
Hold on.
No worries.
I have a suggestion while we're waiting.
Yes.
Why don't we start drinking?
Oh, let's drink! Drink!
Okay, hold on, guys.
Take your time. Jason, what's the weather like in Michigan?
I am relocated. Okay. Can everyone hear me now?
We can, yeah.
Okay. I'm actually going to do one more thing here. Sure, that'd be, but no worries. I'm going to switch to. Okay. That should be better. Awesome. I'm going to put them right back over here.
There you go. I'm seeing a frozen picture. Maybe I'm the only one.
Frozen for me too.
Okay.
Okay. I am back.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me and see me?
Yep.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, and I even have headphones so I can hear you even better.
Fantastic.
How's everybody doing now?
We're great.
A little bit of whiskey in you. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Well, let's pick up where we left off, which is we were just showing you guys the new whiskey bottles, and this first whiskey, which I know you guys, if you haven't already started drinking it, let's go ahead and do that. And this is our California Oak Bourbon. Funny thing is, Vadim is moving, but everyone else seems frozen for me. Hopefully, I'm not the first person. hopefully I'm not the only person that's ever had a technical difficulty on this.
It's all
on,
good.
this on the
No, you won't be the
tastings, but
last.
We've had earthquakes happen before during a VT, so as long as you don't do that, we're good.
Well, at least you're here,
Yeah.
and like some people scheduled it didn't even show up.
That happened once.
oh no, let's not ever be that bad. So
No.
excellent. So the first one here,
Yeah.
you know what's funny is everybody's frozen. What is going on?
We can hear you. We can see you.
Yeah, it's just funny. I came upstairs and it's actually worse than when we were downstairs for me. Everyone's frozen for me.
It's better for
I
us.
have no idea if you guys can hear me or see me.
Can
It's
you-
better for you?
Yeah.
Everyone can hear me and see me, and everything's moving at normal speed.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, then I'm gonna fire away, guys.
Great. Thank you.
Vadim, interrupt me if I do cut out. Okay.
Sounds good.
Apologize. We'll get started now for real. So first whiskey of the night is a Kentucky straight bourbon from Owensboro, Kentucky. The distillery is Green River. The master distiller is Jacob Call. I don't know how familiar you guys are or are not with Green River Distilling and what they do over there in Owensboro, but some of you may have caught wind that today they actually just launched their flagship whiskey under the Green River name, which is the first time that they've launched a whiskey in 137 years, I believe. So it's one of the oldest distilleries in Kentucky. It's DSP KY 10, so the 10th distillery ever licensed in the state of Kentucky. Pop quiz. Who knows what the first one was? Anybody? It was Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill was the first one. And so this whiskey you're drinking tonight and everything that you're going to taste tonight is unique in the sense that we do finished whiskey, and it's all done with broken barrel staves. So the joke when we started about me having a sledgehammer is very apropos, because that's what we do. We take sledgehammers, we smash barrels, we take the pieces, and we actually put them into the tank and let them age the whiskey just a little bit further, finish the whiskey a little bit further. And we do it with multiple different barrels at the same time. And we call that composition of different barrel staves our oak bill. So just like a mash bill is the composition of whiskey grain, our oak bill is the composition of oak barrel staves. This first whiskey tonight is 88 proof, 44%. And it is finished with 80% California Cabernet staves from the Central Coast, from Paso. And 20% of the staves are French oak staves. So that's what I have in my glass as well, actually. And so this is a great bottle, very entry-level proof, very friendly for the wine drinkers that you may know that you want to get them into whiskey. This is a great option to kind of wean someone a little bit closer towards whiskey that's really into wine. And therefore, you're going to find a lot of those sort of tannic aftertaste when you swallow on the finish. You're going to get a lot of really interesting fruit notes, dark fruit notes, wine characteristics on the front end, and the flavor profile of the whiskey and the mouthfeel is going to have that great Kentucky hug as you drink it, as you swallow it. You're going to get that little bit of that burn from that Kentucky bourbon. So go ahead. No, tell me what you guys taste. I'll be quiet for a second here and let you guys take a minute to take it in.
It's got a really nice sweetness to it and a
Agreed.
really long finish, really long, spicy finish.
Nice mouthfeel too.
You know, for
Finish on it is, I'm getting a lot of that French oak kind of bite, that tannic little bite at the end that's all sweet and then just gives you that little zing at the end.
Yeah, it's like a really great Cabernet with a bit of the oak on it, but then it's also got the cinnamon and the vanilla from the whiskey. It's really great.
I'm really glad there was wine barrels in there because the second thing I wrote down was grape, and I was like, man, I hope I'm not crazy.
Oh, he was saying something, then he got muted.
That was self-inflicted. That wasn't me. No, he was saying he got grape on this.
Yeah, I mean that's perfect. I mean, this is like a juicy, fruity, not like the gum juicy fruit, but a juicy fruity bourbon. You know, it's kind of just something different. The nice thing about it is the closest thing I would compare it to is if anyone's had Jim Cook.
We're losing you.
That's another whiskey and a black oak. Just runs about 40.
He said it's similar to Savage and Cook.
Savage and Cook, okay.
Yeah, but about $10 less a bottle. And personally, I think this is a cooler bottle. So I'm biased.
A little bit.
But a little bit. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Let's go with our flagship, the first whiskey we ever released. And somewhere in the world, I actually have the original bottle. So we used a little bit of back. That was the first bottle we ever launched, and you actually can see my gold Sharpie batch 01 on there. Now this was a 9-month-old bourbon, exactly straight bourbon on there. But this was actually sourced from Green River, which at the time was actually called Ozzie Tyler Distillery. So we've come a long way from this to this, for sure. It's changed dramatically, quite a bit. But what hasn't changed is the oak bill using sherry cask, French oak, and ex-bourbon staves. And the that oak bill is really what, and also it's still 95 proof, which the first one was also 95 proof. So we've always kept that proof. We found it to be really a nice sweet spot between, you know, kind of the entry level 40% and maybe something a little cask strength. This is kind of right in the middle there for a lot of those whiskeys that hover around the 1-teens. So we love this proof. It's great for cocktails. It's strong enough to kind of still get that bourbon flavor if you're going to make an old fashioned. It's priced in the market to also be great for an old fashioned or you know, whatever cocktail you might want to make, a whiskey sour, etc. It's just it's a workhorse whiskey. It's meant to be sipped, drank over ice, mix it up. It's can do all of those things. You know, the nuances of the oak bill are best taste when you're drinking it neat, of course. And actually, the mash bill did change from the first batch to this batch. It used to be, I believe, the old one was 71, 29. Now it's 70, 21, 9. So 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley. And again, all of that is right there on the side of the bottle. So you can always just check what each whiskey is. And I was going to show you guys this earlier. You can see on that little gold seal, it says batch bottled Owensboro, Kentucky. Oh, I was going to have a little bit of this with you guys. Go ahead and try the small batch and let me know what you guys think.
So small batch is your flagship.
First product, first whiskey we ever did 5 years ago, 2017. Well, 4.5 years ago.
Does it keep getting older?
What's that?
Does it get older with new expressions? If this is the same one you released 4 years ago, does it keep getting older every time you release it, or are you keeping it consistent?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, it is getting older. It's a great question, Vadim. With with every year that passes, the inventory at Green River gets older. When they started in 2016 distilling, we bought whiskey from them in 2017. It was under a year old. They didn't have 1.5, 2 year old, anything like that. So we have bought older and older whiskey as they have, as their stock has aged, so to speak. So they themselves are just releasing a 4-year bottled and bond this year, which is almost 6 years after they started distilling. So you can imagine, getting my hands on 2, 3, 4 year has been a process that we kind of slowly changed our recipe to incorporate some of those whiskeys. But again, there's so many different price points for different aged whiskeys. And if you think back to the early days of Peerless, when they were launching their bourbon and their rye, they were selling 2-year-old whiskeys for 80, 90, 120, 130 at the distillery, for anyone that's been to Kentucky and has been to Peerless. So certainly we've always tried to keep the age of the whiskey and the competition in mind. And we've always tried to do something that was very, price sensitive to, what's out there and what you can get, especially from the big companies, the Heaven Hills, Buffalo Traces of the world. So all these first 3 whiskeys are priced between $30 and $35. And they're meant to be drank often, shared, gifted. They're just whiskeys that you can get your hands on.
Great.
So yeah, small batch. Small batch is a good example of kind of the core tenets of like bourbon. Has good vanilla, has good caramel. It's got a woody note to it on the kind of like the middle part of it. And the sweet sort of fruity finish is that little bit of sherry that you kind of pick up for me towards the end of the sip. And it's really there on the finish mostly. It's not so much on the front end or the flavor profile, but it really is in sort of the mouthfeel and that last sort of sip before you swallow it, where you start to taste some of the sherry fruit notes.
There's a lot of sherry in it that I pick up.
But I'll be quiet one more time just to hear if anyone has. Yeah.
Well, I like the mouthfeel, like you were talking about. I get the bourbon on the front end with the cherry flavors and things, and then on the way out, it seems like the sherry comes in. It's really nice. I like it a lot. It's easy to drink, smooth. I like it.
Good, nice.
Yeah, when you said that, it's good for cocktails, I totally got it, because I felt like this is like a neutral, good bourbon that would like not outshine other stuff, but as well as taste good at the same time. So nice.
Nice. Well, if you guys are ready, we can move to a little bit of rye whiskey tonight and get into some of that. Now, this is, I think from here on out is where it gets really interesting, because now you're going to start to taste some of our more adventurous products. And we actually just received a 93 points on this rye whiskey from the tasting panel. So I'm very, very happy with that as a start to the year. And we've got a few more award submissions on this. So we'll see how it does in the next couple competitions coming up in February and March. But all in all, this is the bottle that my wife and I like. Ever since we came out with this one and this bottle, where we upped the age range from 2 to 4 year on the rye blend, this is the bottle that just we can't stop drinking it. It's just so good. It's so easy to drink. It's right in that like perfect sweet spot. And I really like whiskey to be generally between 100 and 110. Once I get over 110, depending on which whiskey it is, type, variety, etc., I find myself wanting a cube or adding a little water something, just because I'm pretty, my throat's pretty banged up from all the whiskey I've drank already, and I'm still quite young. But this is right in that sweet spot. This has got really good spice notes, really good fruit notes, really good vanilla notes. That vanilla note is really present as you start to taste more and more whiskey out of Owensboro. You'll find that that vanilla note is extremely pronounced, and it's this through line that kind of, it almost gives away that it's from there. That is like this very distinct vanilla note that I kind of find in all the whiskeys we've ever put out. There's always this vanilla note. And to find it on a rye whiskey is a really nice, really good balancing sort of flavor. Please go Heresy, because the rye whiskey and all the whiskeys for that matter it's just not a normal process, and we're very proud of that. And so I remember we were talking to a distillery, and we were figuring out like what, you know, the process was going to be like, working with them. This was kind of before we got up and running, and we had asked someone about, you know, if they were going to break barrels and put them in there, and they said, "Oh, you can't do that." I said, "Why not?" And they go, "That's heresy. That's sacrilegious. That's not how you finish whiskey." I go, "Oh, I like that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to use that one day." So we basically wanted to kind of not just do the process, but we wanted to own that title and be the heretics in the whiskey world, and not be so traditional. And it's really a nice kind of like oxymoron between one of the oldest distilleries in Kentucky and one of the most ridiculous, you know, out in the whiskey world stuff. It's just not stories about the Coopers and, you know, building the barrels up. And, you know, I see these videos on Instagram, and then there are, you know, smashing them to pieces. Which, you know, the guys in Owensboro, when they're breaking barrels, I'm not there. They're just doing it like with a little saw or something. They're not probably making a big go about it with sledgehammers. But when I'm there, I like the sledgehammer approach. I think it's more fun, especially if you got any stress. You can really just get that all out, take it out on the barrel. So go ahead, try the Heresy Rye, and let me know what you guys think.
I have to say on this one, I already been tasting it. For me, it's not so much vanilla, but a floral honey all the way through. Floral honey and spice.
We'll put the mute on. Well, you know, Seth, I'm a big fan of all of your stuff. And Mary here, my roommate, just tasted the rye for the first time, and I've already told her the Heresy was fantastic. And apparently people agree.
I'm getting a lot of almonds on the back end, and I think it's got to be that cherry is just the way I'm kind of getting that roasted kind of little bit bitter nuttiness. And it really makes it interesting, because it's like Julius was saying, it's so much honey up front, and then it kind of moves. That's been with all three of them, is every one of them's been a journey, which makes it really nice.
Jason, yeah, I take that on the end, that nuttiness. I get that in the end as well.
I think it would make a great Sazerac cocktail too, because I think the sherry in it, and when it gets hit with the bitters, I just think it would sound or taste really good.
That's an amazing idea.
Yeah, I think it would too. We were making Manhattans with it when we first launched it in 2018. Was the year we came out with cast strength and with rye whiskey. And yeah, you know, it was just a point. I was like gaining weight because I was drinking Manhattans like every couple nights. I'm like, oh, dude, there's so much sugar in and stuff. Like, I got to stop drinking cocktails and go back to neat whiskey, because that was a lot lighter for me. So I was like noticing, I'm like, did I gain weight this month? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, I'm having, it's the Manhattans I'm drinking every fucking night. Like, this is not my normal thing. Because we were getting into it, and it was really fun. It was also right before the wasn't right before the pandemic, but it was, we had our bar was just built not long after launching this. And we have a 28-foot bar and a 3,000 square foot. This is why I make my ass look fat. That's funny. So basically we were having a lot of fun with this. We had a lot of events in late 2018, all through 2019, and then shut them down. Haven't really had an event since. But as Vadim was pointing out earlier, we do have a spot in downtown LA. We do have a tasting room. We do offer different flight gift shop there. We actually just got these Broken Barrel shirts. We have red ones, green ones. We have some old blue ones that are still a couple left. We have glassware. We don't have cocktails, but if you really wanted one, I could probably make you one. One of my employees is also a former bartender, so he's by appointment only, and it is Monday through Friday, which makes it hard for a lot of people to get there, which we like because we're not set up for heavy traffic for people coming in like any time of day or weekends. So at the moment, but if you guys were interested in coming in, a couple people, something listed. I think there's a lot of different options there in the facility, and we have some really unique whiskeys. In fact, the ones we bottled this week are online. You literally can't get them anywhere but our spot. Certainly, there's my 1-minute commercial on our spot in downtown LA. And let's move on to the next whiskey, which I don't have here, unfortunately, is the Plank Walker, which is a really interesting whiskey. And I'll just tell you guys all about it because I am obsessed with it. It is an interesting little project we did. We had 4 barrels that had just that we purchased for a single oak series we had launched in 2019. And out on the barrels for later that year they had been, and we released all 4 of the barrels. 2 of them were picked up by us internally and sold in LA, Southern California, as the Plank Walker. 1 went to the Bourbon Lens Rare Americana label, which I'll show you guys what that looks like. And we did another one that you guys are drinking. It just has a different finish. Now, these all show up in a black bottle, and virtually anything we do in Los Angeles is going to go in these matte black bottles. So it kind of helps us delineate where the whiskey came from. Clear bottles, Kentucky, and all of these ones are done in LA. But this bottle is the same exact whiskey. I'll show you guys, hopefully you could show up there, the oak bill and the mash bill. Now the mash bill is the same as the Plank Walker. It's an 85% corn, 15% rye. It was never put into a new charred oak barrel. It went right from the still into a used barrel. And it was not put in at the same entry proof as bourbon. So it is not a bourbon. It is a corn whiskey or an American whiskey. The second thing is that your Plank Walker that you guys are drinking, different from this bottle, is that yours has a Barbadian rum cask stave finish coupled with French oak. Whereas the bottle here, this single barrel that we did for the Bourbon Pursuit podcast, they picked peach brandy cask, rye, and French oak. So they had a triple stave blend that they did, and theirs was at 117. The barrel that you guys got was at 115.6. And we actually just did a fourth barrel of the Rare Americana for the other podcast group, and they got 120 proof on theirs. Now theirs is finished with Sauterne casks. So definitely an interesting different way to kind of use those 4 barrels we had of 7-year-old corn or American whiskey. And I don't have the bottle here to show you, but it's really, really great. We had a buddy of ours who's an artist draw, pirates pushing a prisoner off of a plank, rum, pirates, etc. So we called it the Plank Walker. And it's just a fun bottle of whiskey. It just won 94 points from Tasting Panel last month, and hopefully picks up some more awards this year. So go ahead, give that Plank Walker a try, and let me know what you guys think.
So the matte black
I'll
glass.
drink this one because this is what I got.
Sounds good. The matte black bottle. What made you decide to go that way? Do you find those to be more attractive, or?
There's a lot of influence in this brand. It's from whiskey. Old in your face lettering is very similar to what the Port Charlotte does on the back of the bottle. And then if you think about the dark arts bottle or the black arts, if you know what it's called, those matte black bottles, I've always been very attracted to those. So like some very designs that I mean, it's not exactly the same. I mean, they put their label on the front and the letters on the back, ours letters on the front. But there's just a little homage there from me to Bruichladdich that I really love that whiskey. I'm a huge Scotch fanatic. I've got 200 plus bottles of Scotch in my office, and I drink Scotch religiously. So I was going to open it up for any comments on the Plank Walker before I move to the next one.
You're breaking up pretty badly, Seth, at least from my perspective. But this is wonderful. I really love it, and I'm really interested in what you were just saying, that you have. But I don't think I understood it. Do you have other Plank Walkers that have different staves in them, or they all have the same type of staves? I'm confused.
Sorry, say that. Repeat the question again.
So this Plank Walker has a lot of rum influence. Did you say that
rum and French oak?
Right. Did you say that other Plank Walkers have other, like Sauterne and other staves in them, or are they different whiskeys altogether?
So we had 4 barrels of 7-year-old whiskey. We released the Plank Walker with 2 of those barrels. The other 2 went under the label Rare Americana.
Got it. Okay.
And the Rare Americanas were actually, we reserve that label for anything over 6 year that is selected by a group. And so and it has to be an American whiskey. So the 2 podcast groups I was mentioning earlier, one picked peach brandy, French oak, and rye. A different podcast group picked Sauterne cask and French oak. But between the 2 podcast groups and the 2 barrels of Plank Walker, we used all 4 of our 7-year-old American whiskeys.
And are they? Thank you. That cleared it up. But are they gone, or are they? Oh, somebody just posted. Mission Liquor, we can get some of these.
The Mission Liquor has the Plank Walker. We at our facility downtown have the Plank Walker. We will be releasing the Plank Walker on our website before the end of this month. And these, Vadim, are available. I think there were some in January. I can't say if there are any now. Keg and Bottle, Southern California, does have these. They put a sticker on the back, and it was like a store pick with a big sticker on it. And I think they call it Broken Dreams in like in the Hollywood sign or something like style. I don't know. They did that after I sold it. I did, you know, these barrel pick people put crazy stuff on the bottles after we sell them. So I have no control over that.
I'm
Whatever.
really curious about that peach brandy one.
Personally, I will tell you the Sauterne is my favorite. It's like no other whiskey I've ever had. The only other Sauterne finish I've had was Blood Oath Pack 7 and a rye whiskey from Far North Distillery in Minnesota. And they made a rye whiskey that was finished with Sauterne cask. So this is one of 3 Sauterne casks that I know of. And by far my favorite of the 3, and by far my favorite of the barrels of the 7-year that we've released, which is the oldest whiskey we've ever released. It's awesome. It's a great product. I mean, the peach brandy, it's more dessert-like. It's so for me, it doesn't have the regularity of a whiskey. Like it's not a whiskey I would drink every single night or during the day even. It's really more of a dessert whiskey for me. In that it's very, very sweet. It's way sweeter than Plank Walker is way more balanced, and you put it on a rock and you can kind of knock them back. And the Sauterne is just, it's a delicacy. It just tastes so complex and so rich. And I'm certainly going to set aside a few cases of those and have those. So one thing I'll tell you guys, I've been to over 175 distilleries in my life already. And one thing that I found in visiting distilleries was that I was very disappointed when I would make, a trip out to a different place or go to great lengths to visit someone. And there was nothing there for me that was different than what I could buy, back at my local Bevmo or whatever. So it just, for me, when we opened our gift shop and when we started getting things going with Broken Barrel and the new glass showed up, I wanted to make it a point to make it such a special thing that when you came and made the effort to come visit me and visit us, that you would be able to get something that you couldn't get anywhere else from the experience standpoint, from a product standpoint, from just hospitality standpoint. So if you come visit us, we will take excellent care of you. We will, I was giving Girl Scout cookies out last night to them. I was like, what can I get you guys? What do you like? They're like, what do you have? I'm like, I have the crackers. I'm like, I have Girl Scout cookies. I'm like, bring them out. So we brought out we're eating Girl Scout cookies with these people. Like, we're doing whatever we can to make it an experience for people when they come out. So my goal is to keep as many unique different things there as possible, so that if you come, you have a lot of options and you can kind of get the whole smorgasbord of whiskey we've released, as long as we can keep the supply. And if we run out of something, we have a lot of different things aging. If we find that we're running low on options, we'll probably look to bottle something unique. And that's also part of what our online Broken Barrel Club will be. So
we can get the Sauterne finish at the Sauterne barrels at your place?
By the end of this month, yes. It's still finishing with its French oak right now. And I'm ordering labels tomorrow. So it takes about 2 weeks. I would say by like March 1st, there will be Sauterne cask finish 7-year at 120 proof too, by the way. It's 120 proof. And it's got it's this bottle. It looks just like this one, except we did a little bit of a blue instead of a gray. So it's got a little bit of a midnight blue look to it, just so we could differentiate the two by looking at them from a distance, because otherwise it would look identical and you wouldn't know the different oak bills unless you turned it over. So we're going to toggle the color a tiny bit between each rare Americana. And right now we're looking, I'm actually receiving samples of new whiskey from all over the place that we're going to potentially use as the next rare Americana. So we're looking for our next kind of, few barrels for that product, or that label, I should say. Okay, let's keep going. So I mean, were any other comments on the plank walker? I saw people typing some stuff in.
I would add, Seth, that I was kind of it's a big jump from the Heresy to the plank walker. I mean, I noticed it with the Heresy, even though it's 104 proof, it didn't really feel like a over 100 proof. I mean, it was nice and smooth. It had a little bit of that alcohol at the end, but it was really very well balanced. The plank walker is just like so much more of a flavor bomb, and you get that alcohol kind of burn. So it is a drastically different kind of taste experience, and I really liked it a lot because
Yeah.
you mentioned, put it on a rock, which is my thing. This thing would be perfect, and I'm waiting to put it on one, but I don't
Yeah,
have enough.
I recommend the plank walker with a cube, and to not like, don't let it water down too much, like drink it relatively quickly.
Oh no, I have
But
special ice cubes.
something
Don't
to,
worry about that, Seth.
oh yeah, you got the
I got
rocks.
Neve ice, solid, clear, square
Oh,
cubes.
nice. The fancy one, the good stuff.
Very bougie, bougie as hell, baby.
That's the way to do it. I have the employee I was talking about, his name is Jimmy. He's the bartender. He has the little mini igloo like cooler, and he made like solid brick of ice for us. And
I
then
tried that. I got tired of doing it.
yeah, well he works for me, so he gets to do it and I get to watch. So it's great. And he's just there carving it up. And I asked my family for weird things for like the holidays and stuff. Like, what do you want? I'm like, well, I want a Japanese ice pick. So they got me a Japanese ice pick. It's like this solid, gorgeous, sharp. Like I opened it up. My family said, put that away. Like that's dangerous. I'm like, oh, it's great. They started buying me axes for like the holidays. Like people, my family, like starting to get to know me really well in recent years. And so they've been buying me hammers and axes and knives and things. Like he likes to destroy things and cut things open and break barrels. Like let's get him these sharp things. But it's fun. It's funny. So let's move on to two. So what's interesting is you guys are trying from our previous packaging. The new packaging for everything you guys are trying is actually going to look like this. Generally, they're in a clear bottle, with the exception of this one run. We actually bottled these Bevmo editions in the black bottle and in Los Angeles. So this is how they look. They're actually called the Reserve Oak series. If you go to brokenbarrelwhiskey.com, you can find out a little bit more information about these, the ones that you're not trying tonight. And I think somebody was asking earlier about the peach brandy. In San Diego, they actually just got at Costco a peach brandy, one of the 4 versions. There's 4 different labels in this series. It's called the Reserve Oak, and they're all bottled at cask strength. They generally are right around that 115 proof, and we offer them in 4 different varietals. You're going to try 2 of the 4 tonight. So the first one you're going to try is the rum finish, and it's a good thing to follow up the plank walker with, because one is an older American corn whiskey and the other is a younger bourbon whiskey, right? Now the bourbon that you're going to try, which was just, it's our Broken Barrel rum finish Reserve Oak. It does have more rye in it, so it's a little spicier, a little hotter on the palate. It's a little younger, which would also make it a little hotter on the palate. And it has the malted barley aspect, which you do not get on the plank walker. You have no malted barley in the plank walker. So almost 9, call it 10% of the mash bill here is going to be that malted barley. So go ahead, if you didn't finish your plank walker, it's kind of cool to smell back and forth between the 2 rum finishes. And though it doesn't state it on the bottle, I will tell you they're both the exact same rum. They're Barbadian rum staves or rum barrels from the same source. We didn't change anything about them. We're just leaning. Go ahead.
I'm just curious. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
I was going to ask, can you tell us more about the process? I'm really curious because I get that you break barrels and put the staves into a plastic vat or like where did the staves go? And then the next question is, how are you selling single casks if they're no longer in a cask?
so even in LA, if you were to come visit us right now, like the group that was in yesterday, I have 55-gallon drums that are on wheels. So we'll dump a barrel into the 55-gallon drum and then stick the staves in there and seal it off. So it is a single barrel that is then dumped into a single barrel vessel. You know, we have 600-liter tanks, we have 1,000-liter totes, we have 100-liter stainless steel as well for bottling. So, and that's just here in LA. And then in Kentucky, I mean, these big ones are done probably 10 to 12 barrels at a time, give or take, depending on how much I order for a given batch. And everything, it's kind of, you're not gonna be able to see it, but this purple strip right here has numbers on it, and it has the batch number on there. So everything that has a batch number. So if you had a batch that you found was, for whatever reason, better than a different batch, you could seek it out and try and find more of that batch and go for that. You know, not too dissimilar from like barrel whiskey or something like that. So the process in Kentucky is a little different. It's much larger because they're making, you know, we're making anywhere from 500 to 1,000 6-packs at a time of any given SKU. But the stuff in LA is much more micro batch or even single barrel. We can't do single barrels in Kentucky. They won't even let us. Like they're like, we're 500 and up, 500 cases and up, because they're high volume efficiency, keep the machines running kind of place. We are, let's fuck around and experiment kind of place in LA. So LA is all about doing the little individual, you know, I have quarter casks. Like I will age, bottle, and finish quarter casks of rye later this year. So I'll go down to 15 gallons if I want to. So for LA, it's really whatever we feel like doing, we're going to do that. And we're not going to follow any rules. We have no minimums. We have no deadlines. When we feel like something's ready, we'll release it. I just bottled something I have no orders for. I just thought it was ready. So it's bottled. And now I'm going to go try and sell it, but it was ready to bottle. So the whole point is LA is our play place. It's our Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, so to speak, of whiskey. And so it's a lot of fun. Yes.
How do we get a golden ticket?
You just make an appointment and come anytime, Monday through Friday.
Okay, but not Saturday.
Not Saturday, unless you had a group of like 5 or 6 people or more. I would try to make an arrangement and try to come in for a group that size, but I couldn't come in for just 1 or 2 people. The economics don't work out for us.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we could get a group, but I offered a suggestion, March 5th, which is a Saturday, or March 11th, which is a Friday. So for any folks who want to go down and check out their operation.
Yeah, a Friday would be amazing. And I will probably definitely be drinking with you guys on a Friday. Because that's what I only drink most days, but I would definitely be drinking on a Friday with you guys. We'd have a great time. But Saturday, yeah, if you guys want to do a Saturday, if Vadim doesn't have it already, you guys can have my email address. It's just Seth@infusespirits.com, SPIRITS. Shoot me an email. We'll set it up as long as it's like in the books, and at least, you know, give me 5 or 6 people. That's the best way to do it.
And does that involve some de-stress? Can we break some barrels while we're there?
You guys come with 5 or 6 people or more, and I will pull a barrel and we will break it together.
Awesome.
Although I don't know if we'll have to get a really fresh barrel to make it last 5 or 6 swings, because the used ones, the beat up ones that we smash sometimes are, you know, big enough person in there, you can get it in 1 or 2 swings. So, but yeah, we could break a barrel for sure.
Awesome.
We can make it happen.
And then to go back to what Vadim was asking, do you, because it's still not clear to me how you do this. So I get it. You get the barrels in, you break them up and you put them in, but what do you put them into? Do you put them into another wooden barrel, or do you put them
No.
into stainless steel tanks or glass tanks?
We put them, so great question. So as I was mentioning, the sizes and varying containers we have for a single barrel, we have a 55-gallon drum.
But a drum, a steel drum? What's a drum?
Steel, yeah, I have a steel drum, and I even have plastic drums. We noticed some corrosion on one steel drum that we actually tossed the whiskey, and we didn't use that steel drum. So we've gotten since a second type of steel drum that is non-corrosive. We also found that plastic is, I wouldn't leave it in plastic for too long, but we do have plastic containers that are, science, like chemical grade, the stuff that they put. If you think about like how they melt the bodies in Breaking Bad, those kind of plastic containers. And they work. I mean, they're alcohol grade. They can handle it.
When is that infusion coming?
That's a great way to sell your whiskey.
Right? I'm just
Jeffrey
trying to give you
Dahmer
guys
whiskey.
giving you the visual, right? But yeah, no, we have a 600-liter, like very traditional looking stainless steel tank, which is great for 2 to 3 barrels. We have the 5-barrel 1,000-liter totes, and we even have a 1,500 1.5 size. We have 2 of those 1.5 size totes. So if you come in, you'll see totes stacked super high. You'll see our stainless steel tank. We have 400-liter tanks, which are great for the 15-gallon. So if we do a 15-gallon, we would dump it in 100-liter versus the 55. And yeah, we just use those. And in Kentucky, they're much larger. They're 10,000 gallon. So they can hold way more barrels. And we will fill 60-70% of that on a given batch of broken barrel small batch or broken barrel. I mean, just to give you perspective, Buffalo Trace's small batch is 40 barrels. Ours are closer to 10 to 12 at a time.
And how much wood goes into when you're aging in a drum? How much of a barrel goes? Do you like some staves or everything? You break down a barrel and goes in there?
No, we'll start with a certain amount, and given how quickly we need or want to release something, we can speed it up by adding more staves as long as we keep the ratio to what we were hoping for. And then obviously the amount of oak varies on the size of the batch or the blend. So we don't use a full barrel's worth of staves on a single barrel like the Plank Walker. That was probably 15 staves, which is about a third of a barrel on a single barrel. And remember, you have the front of the stave, the back of the stave, the sides of the stave. You have way more oak in contact with the whiskey than just the interior if you were to just fill a barrel, right? So you have to factor that in as well and think about all of the, you have to think about the weather. How hot is it? That room that we store our barrels in LA, it can get up to 90 degrees or as cold as, 60, 65 degrees. I think the AC keeps it from going below 60, but it's a 30-degree swing. We have barrels in our facility that had spent years of their life in Nevada where it was 120, 125 degrees inside. In Kentucky, you have, all the seasonality of any Kentucky warehouse. So
how do you process those barrels? I mean, I see you got the sledgehammer out and you break them down, but do you do any cleaning of the outside surfaces?
Water. Just water.
Okay.
Just a little bit of water, just to get any kind of like, dust or debris. But, people always ask like, aren't the outsides of the barrel dirty? I mean, have you guys ever pulled samples from a barrel before from the inside?
Yeah.
I did it today earlier. I can't tell you how much soot and debris and stuff comes out just from the inside of a barrel. So whether it's the inside or the outside, you need to filter the whiskey a little bit. I mean, we're not putting out cowboy whiskey, so you're not going to get little floaties or dusties or anything on the bottom. We do use carbon and micron filters to filter out any kind of debris, any kind of black soot. When we are done, even with the smallest barrels, after they've been finished, we do see our filters go from white to black. It collects every last bit, and the whiskey that comes out is clean, delicious, And obviously that Plank Walker is a great testament. That was our first real whiskey that we released out of LA, and it got 94 points. So we're doing something right for sure.
I've got a question about what you were mentioning a few minutes ago with, you can add more staves to, get your desired effect more quickly. And, as a testament to what you guys are doing, like, all of these have been absolutely phenomenal. I've been very impressed with everything so far. So I'm curious, how much have you played with that? And like, have you also gone like too far where you've like put a little too much in and been like, whoa, I might have overdone it there? And like, how quickly can you hyper kind of age with that process? Like where, most people would take 4 years and you're like, yeah, give me 7 months and see what I do.
So a couple things. I definitely don't use or advertise any kind of hyper aging, and I wouldn't look at our broken barrel process as anything to do with age. It's really about flavor and about finish. So when I'm adding staves, I think of it like adding salt and pepper to a dish when you're cooking. So you're thinking about it as, okay, the recipe calls for a teaspoon of salt, and you put it and you taste it and you're like, it needs more salt. So you put a little bit more. If we say we want to get a rum finish on this Plank Walker and we taste it and we go, I'm not getting the rum. Let's add more staves and let's see how it tastes in another week. And we kind of just go, we just go step by step. I mean, these things are from where I sit in my office to where our barrels are stored is like 200 feet. So I can just walk over, take my thief and say, how's it tasting today? And so the Plank Walker, I think we finished it for 3.5 months total. I have a peach brandy, apple brandy, cognac, grape brandy, triple cask finish that has been aging since early 2021. I have beer cask finished whiskey that has been aging since January of 2020 finishing since January 2020. So there's no hard and fast rule of how long we have to finish something. The peach brandy cask that we did for this rare Americana I was talking about earlier, I only finished it for about a month. Peach brandy was really strong. And so much to your point, Sean, we had to stop it. We're like, all right, pull the staves out because this is getting way too sweet. Somebody asked what beer was the cask from. So we did one release that was actually stated on the bottle, Modern Times Brewery out of San Diego. We've used Firestone Walker. We've used Belching Beaver. We have used, there's one called Second Chance Brewery. We used their Tabula Rasa Porter.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, you guys know Tabula Rasa?
Yeah.
It's a great beer.
Well, all of the ones you just said were awesome. I was wondering for Modern Times specifically and Belching Beaver, which beer? Because, yeah.
The Belching Beaver is coming out and it's going to be available in a retailer in San Diego. And I believe the website is called Oaked, OAKED.net. They buy a lot of our stuff, I think, and they're the ones, they bought the whole barrel, but we still saved some for us in LA because we can. But they bought the whole barrel. It was a salted caramel stout. It was their 9th anniversary edition. Modern Times, I forget the name. It was like Monster something.
Okay. Nice.
I should know that. I'm sorry I don't. But I have two guys on my team, Mike and Andy, and they're my beer guys, and they know beer really, really well. So they like handpick which stout barrels. I'm like, we got the best stout barrels. I'm like, I trust you guys. And they just went for it. And they are actually in charge of all the correspondence with the breweries. So I have very little contact with the breweries because my team sort of helps handle the procurement of those barrels. And I let them go to the breweries, taste the beer, meet the teams at the breweries. I let them form those relationships, so they really get involved. And they're just such absolute beer nerds that it's like heaven on earth for them.
Yeah,
like,
I
get
tell.
to go to breweries.
It's their choices.
They love it.
Yeah.
They love it.
Awesome.
But yeah, the Belching Beaver is funny because I do know the brewery and I love the peanut butter milk stout, and I wanted peanut butter milk stout barrels, but supposedly they don't age it in barrels, or they stopped aging it in barrels. Somebody was like, we can't get you those, and so they said we can get you salted caramel. So I said, let me do that. But one day I'm hoping I can get. I told them, look, I will pay you guys to fill. I'll send you a barrel. You just fill it with the peanut butter milk stout, and then give us the barrel, and I'll pay you whatever that costs. And then just let me have it. I'll pour the beer out. I'll drink the beer, and then I'll use the barrel for the whiskey after. Like, let's do that. I am talking to one brewery that I actually know the owners, called Slow Brewery out in San Luis Obispo, and they have a churro stout and a banana stout. And I'm trying to talk to them about getting some barrels for a collaboration in the spring.
Awesome. Because when you said Belgian Beaver, I was like, it couldn't be peanut butter. That's no way. So that's funny because they don't do a lot of bourbon barrel aged, which is what would be inside that barrel.
Yeah.
So I was really curious. That's awesome.
Yeah. They said that the 10th anniversary will be a peanut butter stout, but they didn't give me a date on when that's coming out. But I have the guy's contact, so I can ask him like at least every few months if we're close to when they dump the barrels.
Awesome.
And Seth, we also have a relationship with a new brewery in North Hollywood called Lawless.
Lawless Brewery.
We've been giving them some of our barrel pick barrels. They have 2 Old Elk, and they just got a 4 Roses that they're going to be are aging stout in.
Well, you just told me that you guys are doing barrel picks, so maybe later this year or in the near future we could talk about doing something like that too, because we do have some barrels that you guys could come on down and just start tasting barrel after barrel. And if you find something you like, then we can create our own oak bill and we can do something like that.
Yeah, Vadim's our go-to guy to coordinate those things, so you're talking to the right man.
All right, well, Vadim, we got to get you out.
That's good. These are so different for two rum cask finishes, so I wanted to throw a poll out there to see where people land on this.
That's cool. I've never seen that before. Can I vote?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, whichever one's your favorite.
I gotta go.
These are so interesting.
We usually always do a poll, and then we will do our own picture here very shortly because we're on our last expression.
Yeah, so we are at the beer finish. I believe this is a Firestone. I don't know which beer it was, and quite frankly, I think this is one of our earlier stout finishes. And the stout finish, this bottle you guys are tasting is probably from over a year and a half ago that we pulled this bottle for you guys. So you're trying something that really hasn't been in circulation for quite some time. Because the most recent stout finishes we did were the Modern Times. And then we did a Total Wine barrel pick, which used, it also used Modern Time, but just couldn't put Modern Time on the label. But that went to Nashville. That didn't go to California, the Total Wine one. So yeah, you guys are getting one of the kind of, I would say, it may even have said the batch on there, but it was probably an earlier batch, given that it's in the older packaging.
Well, as we raise our glass with the last pour of the night, I invite everyone to turn on their cameras and come back online and join us for just a second.
Does that mean Ken Bro too?
Ken Bro can join us if he or she chooses to.
I think it's this one. I think I might actually have one. Is it the porter or the stout?
Stout. Stout.
This is the, actually it says on the label, you can see the Tabula Rasa, second chance.
Nice.
So this was the second chance pick. I haven't had this one in a while.
All right. Well, everyone raise a glass as Seth pours and smile towards your camera. So thank you. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Got it.
Cilantro for my Irish friends.
Ooh, I should have tried this one earlier.
Yeah, I just want to say, Kelly, it's nice to see you here tonight. And Alyssa, it's been a couple times I've seen you for a while, so it's great to see you again. And then Kevin, I know you've probably been launching rockets, haven't you? This has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just love that you're doing, I love that you're getting creative here and doing something a little different and broadening the, the tastes that we can have in whiskey.
well, thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff coming up. I highly recommend, we talk more about getting you guys out as a group and doing tastings, trying some of the stuff you didn't get to try tonight, because it's crazy, but six is just scratching the surface of what we're doing. And I was like joking to somebody earlier this week that, by the end of this year, a serious collector could probably rack up like 15, 20 different bottles of stuff if with what we know we have in the pipeline. I'm scared to try and manage it all, but I think we're going to figure it out, and we're going to find the right homes for the right whiskeys and get things to people that they're really going to enjoy. And, it'll be special to each individual group, whether it's, I'll show you guys one thing, and this will be my last pour of the night because I'm going to go sit and have dinner after. But this is one we just bottled on Tuesday and Wednesday. This is called the Reckoner. It's a cool bottle. It actually has a little graphic of me smashing a barrel, and then up here it has me ripping a barrel in half. And it's 120 proof. It's a straight wheat whiskey. It's 85% wheat, 15% malted barley, and it is finished with cognac and French oak staves. And it is a monster. It is, in my opinion, at the moment, the best thing we've put in the bottle. I will say the Sauterne is really good and maybe a contender because it's still aging with French oak. So the verdict is not quite complete, but this is, in my opinion, I think the best thing we put out.
So if we come down and do a little tour on March 11th, which is a Friday, we're going to be able to get the Sauterne as well as this thing? Or will this already be gone?
No, this will not be gone. I have 5 cases of this, and we get 1 to 2 groups in a week at the moment, and they don't buy that many bottles at one time. So yeah, we should have. Look, if you guys sent me an email, said, you don't have to pay anything, but just tell me, hey, I want to set aside at least a couple of bottles of the Reckoner and these things. I'm trying to set aside enough inventory as we're bottling like this week and next week and the Sauterne coming up. I'm trying to set aside enough to actually have enough to release online, in addition to having some in our gift shop. So I am setting aside more than I normally would, with the anticipation that we have web sales, in-person sales, and even whiskey group sales for like members that will sign up for a quarterly bottle. And so these, just so you guys know, these black bottles that we're doing, like the Americana with the Sauterne and this, they are a little pricier than the core lineup, which are in the 35 range. These are in the 75 range, but the group discount thing we're talking about with the online membership we're going to set up next month, they would go down to 50. You'd put in 200 and you'd get the 4 bottles in the next 4 quarters. So you'd get basically 33% off, and that includes shipping. And then you get invitations to member events that would be once a quarter as well, in LA. So anyone living in LA that becomes a member would get invited to our little parties that we're going to throw. And there'll be food and cool people and great whiskey and just great music and just a good time. And that's really all. That's really all we're after. Yes, we're going to put it all. If anyone is not following us on Instagram, immediately after we get off, before you do any other research or anything, or just drink yourself to sleep, before you do any of that, go follow us on Instagram, because that is where the updates are. We don't have Twitter. I think our Instagram goes to Facebook. So if you're a Facebook person, then you can check us out on Facebook. But I know that I manage it, so I can tell you definitively, Instagram is where a lot of our updates are done, our stories and our posts.
Seth, do you have a kitchen, a barbecue?
At the facility, no. We have no food at all except for Girl Scout cookies.
Not unless we're doing a pilot. Hi,
Not unless
Seth.
not unless they're
We
doing a
did bring
pilot.
in a smoker to do to food for the pilot. So
Well,
if
why
you
don't you
guys
do a
want to
smoker
check
on
out
March
some,
11th and we'll make a party of it?
I can call Dave. We can see about it.
I have also hired for like the events I was talking about. Like I have hired taco trucks and guys that like come in and like deep fry, cod and
Staves.
stuff and make fish. Yeah, deep fry steak. They deep fry fish and do like I've had guys do fish taco, like real Baja style fish tacos and stuff like that. So we've had a pizza company come in. They brought a brick oven, their own brick oven pizza on a trailer and set it up in the back. And then, as Carrie was saying, they did the barbecue as well. So we've done some cool stuff. I mean, we've had a few different types of. We had Angelini from West Hollywood come in one time for a business group. They had like $300 bottles of wine and shit. Like they were doing some fancy stuff that night. But they did all the catering. So yeah, those were the pre-COVID days. A lot of that though.
So where are you based? I know you're in downtown LA. Tell us a little bit about your space.
8th and Santa Fe. So if you guys are familiar with Green Bar Distillery, we're like across the street. We're like next door to them. Though actually I don't know them that well. Although there was one event where it ended up being me, Marsh Mokhtari, who's the owner of Gray Whale Gin, and then Melkin, the owner of Green Bar. And the three of us were playing cutthroat pool at my pool table, which was just kind of a funny moment at this event we had where we were just like three owners of three different spirits companies all playing cutthroat pool together. It's just kind of funny.
Steph, did you move locations then from where?
Not yet. No, not yet. We are moving in August.
Did you know that there's a broken?
Cool. It's right up. So lazy to get to.
Wait, say it again.
Did you know there's a Broken Barrel furniture company in Riverside?
No, but there are several Broken Barrel bars around the country, and there's also a Broken Barrel brewery. And yes, I do have a coexistence agreement with them for alcohol trademark.
So when we look for you,
that might be a lawyer.
When we look for you on Google, we're looking for the infusery, not
Broken Barrel. Yeah, so that's the other confusing part. When we moved in 2018, we had just launched this bottle, and we had only sold 500 cases, and then we signed a lease 6 months after launching that. And again, we were a vodka company. We sold vodka. We still sell vodka. A lot of vodka, all over the country, 40 states. So we created this space under the pretense it was going to be the infusery, and we were going to have people come in, buy vodka, and have 1,000 different herbs and spices, and people could make and infuse their own vodkas. We lost an entire year from 2018 to 2019 with our investors trying to get a liquor license. With so many different people with so many different like busy schedules that getting anyone to sign anything was a nightmare. So I ended up forming a new company by myself, which I'm the only person on to get the liquor license to open the distillery. That process took another like 6-8 months. And before we knew it, it was, late 2019 by the time we had everything set up and filed. And then we did a few events, which I think, Carrie, you might have been at some of those, but we did a few events with the, I can't remember them. They keep changing the name, but it was the Cocktail Collective or the Cocktail Museum.
Yeah, the Center for Culinary Culture.
Center for Culinary Culture. And we did a bunch of great events at the end of 2019. And then we started getting inquiries, events. We put the thing up on event rental space. We had weddings booked, 4 weddings, and then COVID hit and all the weddings got canceled. We canceled any other remaining events, and we sold off a ton of furniture and basically used 60% of our space in our 3,000 square foot tasting room to start housing barrels. We bought a forklift, we bought a still, we bought a whole bunch of stuff, and we have shifted and the lease is almost up, and we're going to move to a way more warehouse style space that you would see a normal distillery in. And we are setting up a bottling line, and we are going to be and the whiskey has just evolved. No, we are not open on President's Day. In fact, I'm actually out of town that day. Somebody just asked if we're open on President's Day. Infused vodka is the other brand we make, and the parent company is Infused Spirits. And for anyone that caught my email earlier, it's Seth at Infused Spirits. Mango habanero, that is one of the better ones. If you like spicy, we make a mango habanero vodka.
Yeah,
Ken is saying it's in his hand.
Ken loves vodka.
Oh, nice.
I don't believe
Ken does not love vodka, but Ken loves habanero.
I don't believe that Ken has it in his hand.
But we believe that David has a spinner in his hand.
Oh, you
Not
have the
showing it.
original. Where did you get that bottle from?
Oh, look.
That's old. I mean, I have those, but no one has those normally. These haven't been out in years.
What?
These are the old. That's the old bottles.
This bottle?
Oh yeah.
I think that may have been from Wade's, from what's his name? Marty at Wade's convinced me to get that.
Okay, so that's the funny story too. Wade's Wine and I have a special deal where I continued to sell them the old bottles after we switched to new packaging. They have been the only account that consistently. So we had inventory of the old vodka, and we stopped selling it, even though we still had more of it. And Wade's Wines told us the new bottles were ugly, which they were the only people in the world that said that. And they said, we want to buy the old bottles. So we kept selling them the old bottles. And they still to this day only have the old bottles of vodka. And they bought a lot. They bought like years worth of supplies.
This I bought in 2017 though. So that might have been.
Yeah. They probably still have some on the shelf. And we haven't produced that bottle since 2014.
Oh, wow. But it lives in our freezer, and once in a while I take it out for a bit. So now
it lives well in a freezer. It does well in a freezer.
Very cool.
So any other questions?
Guess what we liked best on the poll?
Yeah. What do you think was the crowd favorite tonight?
The rye.
That was a very quick answer. But no, it was the Plank Walker.
I voted for Plank Walker, but
it was 53% voted Plank Walker, 35% voted rye, and then 12% voted California. That's interesting.
Well, the two clearly those three, yeah.
Yeah, the two cast strength expressions didn't get any love. Crazy. But out of the two rums, I think it's kind of obvious which one it is at this point. 83% preferred the Plank Walker and 17% preferred the rum cask stave, which I don't get to vote. I don't get to vote, and I thought the rum cask was my favorite by long shot. It was a lot less spicy and had a lot more fruity notes to it.
You know, I was thinking if we had tasted them in a different order, if we had done the stout first, and then the rum,
and then
the Plank Walker, I think we would have all had different experiences.
Yeah, the Plank Walker for me was very, very spicy.
It felt bigger than the others. It felt like it should have been at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I went with the proof for the order, and then I put the rums back to back to kind of create the comparison, which by default put the beer finish last.
Yeah, but it worked out. I mean, everything was great, and I think it's really interesting, kind of thinking outside the box or outside the barrel in this case, where obviously you can't. I think legally you can't continue aging the spirit that it's no longer in a barrel. So the finishing doesn't add age, but it adds character and it adds flavor. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, we don't count the finishing time with the staves as age in the barrel. Mm-hmm. Age on the whiskey or the label. However, the TTB did change the rule to now allow for finishing time as part of the aging time. However, I don't think anyone asked them or they said anything about staves. So that's an interesting kind of, is it or is it not? So
Yeah. It's going to open some new questions.
yeah, we'll probably have to reach out and ask the question because no one else is going to take the time to do that because they don't do what we do. But anyway, it was really great drinking with you guys tonight. If you have any other questions or you think of something later on, shoot us an email, reach out via Instagram. If you DM us on Instagram, you'll probably get me answering. And yeah, we hope to see you guys maybe in March as you come out as a group. That'd be really fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Seth. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All
Really
right,
appreciate it,
guys.
Seth.
Have
Thank
a good
you
evening.
very much.
Bye-bye.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.